Our next reader is a Malaysian, US-based writer who goes by the pseudonym Kopi Soh. We don't know a lot about her. We haven't even seen a photo of her. So she won't be reading, you won't see her reading it. It would be something that would be read today. So it's a little bit unusual, keeping anonymity, which we know for various different reasons in Malaysia is sometimes a safe thing to do. Her first book, oh, I thought I was the only one, that's the title of the book, was published in 2012. It's a self-help book aimed at creating awareness of common psychological issues. In 2013, she published her second book called Oh, I Thought I Was the Only One 2, the sequel, which focuses on how children experience various stresses in their lives and teaching them skills to overcome these stresses. So very worthwhile work. Her latest book, Looking After the Ashes, is published again by Penguin Southeast Asia, and it also figures a cover and artwork by PJ-based illustrator curated, so that there's pleasure for the eyes there as well as for the ears, and we might even see some of those images then. Well, without further ado, take it away, Kopi Soh.
Thank you, Mark, for that lovely introduction. Hi, I'm Kopi Soh, and I will be reading from Looking After the Ashes. Chapter 10 Spirit of the Coin in Hairdressers. My middle and late childhood years were my most interesting years, because that's when I held the power to predict the future, or so I thought. One day, my sister, cousins, some neighborhood kids and I were playing Spirit of the Coin, a cheap version of the Ouija board. Almost every day after school, we would gather and ask the spirit important questions about our lives. Some of my questions were, what will I be when I grow up? The spirit spelled out Teacher. He, she, it was actually quite right on this one. What are my husband's initials? The spirit spelled out BKN. After we were done asking questions, we would offer sugar to the spirit to go home. Anyway, after this particular session, for the longest time, I searched for a boy with those initials. I looked for him everywhere. Being in an all-girls school made my search harder, if not near impossible, so I resorted to the next best thing. I started joining various clubs. First, the swim team, then the Red Crescent Society, then table tennis club, and finally, during my final year of high school, I joined the Girl Guides in hopes of meeting a Boy Scout with those initials. In spite of my best efforts, I wasn't successful. When everything seemed hopeless, a friend of mine told me that if I lit a candle at midnight in front of a mirror, I would be able to see the face of my future husband. That's easy enough, I thought to myself. Unfortunately, my parents weren't thrilled to find their little girl wandering in the middle of the night carrying matches and candles, so I never got to see BKN's face. I soon got tired of trying to find him and settled for the knowledge of how old I would be when I married him and how many children we'd have. That information was easy enough to obtain, and I found it satisfying. In order to find out how old I'll be when I finally married him, I had to pull out a strand of hair and tie it to a ring. I then held the ring next to a cup. Miraculously, the ring started moving, and soon it started to hit the rim of the cup. That part was crucial because I had to count the number of hits. I was up to 26 when the ring slowed down. Feeling fairly happy, for that wasn't too bad an age to be getting married, I proceeded to ask my friend to predict how many kids we'd have. She did it the only way we knew how. She took hold of one of my hands, gave it a hard slap, and told me to close it immediately, while she pressed hard on the base of my palm till some knobs appeared. She then counted them and said confidently, "Well, you're going to have 3 kids." And that was that. Other than my obsession with marriage, another obsession that I had during those years was my desire to change my name. Remember earlier on I mentioned that I really disliked my name? Now that I was older, I felt that I could actually make this happen. I remember trying desperately to change my name to Jill after watching episodes of Charlie's Angels. Farrah Fawcett was so beautiful, but no one would call me that. They even laughed at me. My grandma got upset at me for trying to change my name because she was the one who had chosen my name for me. I could not understand why I was not given an English name. My toko had one. She was called Irene, after one of my grandpa's favorite songs, Goodnight Irene. My jiko had one too. She was called Nellie. Even my grandma had an English name. She was Rose, named after the song Rose, Rose, I Love You. I felt left out. My naive 11-year-old brain figured that if I were to change my name to Jill and had a haircut just like Farrah, I would look just as beautiful. Mom must have felt sorry for me because when I asked her to take me for a haircut, she did so without questioning about it. The haircut place was actually a house turned into something like a salon. I remember sitting there and looking directly into the kitchen at a stocky man wearing shorts and a Pagoda brand singlet, cooking something that smelled like dead fish, rotten eggs, and sweaty armpits all rolled into one. I felt sick, but couldn't leave because this lady was going to make me look beautiful, just like Farrah Fawcett. So I made myself sit down and explain to her how I wanted my hair to be cut. I was positive she understood me. For the entire time that I was explaining, she was nodding and smiling. Then she took out a pair of sharp, shiny scissors and began to cut. When she was done, she whipped out a mirror and gave it to me. I looked into the mirror and the image of a Romulan with bangs cut short and straight across my forehead looked back at me. I didn't quite understand what went wrong that day until years later, when my mom told me that the lady only knew how to cut one style and one style only. That's why she charged so cheap. When we got home, the only person that complimented me on my new hairstyle was Cucu Kor. Nice, nice. Can see big ear now. Hear better, said Cucu Kor. I scowled at her and lashed out rudely. What do you know? You are so ugly, so old. Till now no husband, no boyfriend, no one want you. Seriously, what did this drabby old lady who wears pink plastic berets, whose wardrobe consists of faded polyester tops and flowery pants, know about fashion anyway? As if that wasn't enough, I continued on spitefully. Lucky you have no kids too. You would make a bad mother. I knew this would hurt her. Recalling that incident, I am now truly ashamed. If I had known then what I know now about my Cucu Kor's life, her secret, why she had no husband or children of her own, I would have treated her better and with more respect. But being a spoiled brat then, I didn't know any better.
Hope that wasn't too scary. Thanks for listening and have a spectacular Halloween weekend.